Let's talk about what your second and third row passengers are going to find. First of all, the nice large panoramic sunroof with that front portion that can open if you so desire. We also have the power shade that can be drawn back and forth if you need to conceal that away and keep all the sunlight from coming in. Maybe it's a little bit too hot. Let's talk about the door panel. We'll show you what's going on over there on the passenger side. It is nice and large, and I like that it's completely flat. A little bit of storage space in the front, and then we have the nice large door bin down below. Something else that we have here is going to be the shade right there. If you want to show that, we can do this right here. You can put this in just like that. It is manual, but that's what we have. Now, there's a lot to talk about with these middle seats right here. We'll get back to that when we come back to this area, but the first thing I want to do is pull up on the release right here. That's going to be up on the top. That's how we gain access to the third row, and I will get back in here and show you what's going on where that is concerned. Now, the floor is a little bit high for my liking, but there is potentially a lot of leg space. The seats would normally come back to about right here, but I want you to notice something. Notice how far back I am reclined. So there's an answer to a question a lot of you have. Yes, these seat backs do recline. We'll have our roof-mounted air conditioning vents, something I really like a lot better than having them way down here in this area. There's a USB port. It's going to be right here. Kind of an unusual location for it, but actually I think that's a really good spot because it's a little bit easier to get to instead of being down in this area. You do have your cup holders right here, and overall quite a bit of space for your third row passengers. Let's talk about the functionality of these seats, and there's a reason for that because they're a little tricky if you're not used to them. First of all, let's talk about the release up here on the top. That is going to allow for moving the seat back and forth like this. Now, you might say, well, what do I do to move the seat back now? That front lever on the side is what you need to pull on, and that is going to allow for moving the seats back and forth and changing their position, putting them back in place. Now, that lever behind that, you'll notice that it has a 2 on it. Here is why that is there. To fold these seat backs flat, first of all, you have to do this. Then you pull on that lever down there with that 2 on it, and it brings the seats flat. Kind of an interesting little thing as opposed to just pulling on a release like we normally would. Now, that release on the side, you can move the seat back and forth like this, or you can fold the seat forward. It will also allow for reclining the seats. Now, I'm going to hop inside here, and we'll talk a little bit more about what we find. We'll close that door to try and get rid of some noise. There's actually a decent amount of space back here. I do wish the armrests were a little bit longer, but this is what we have. A lot of head space, nice view of the panoramic sunroof. That's always a nice thing. Then we're going to have our rear seat pockets. That's going to be the back of the driver and passenger seats. A little bit of storage space right here. At least that's what it looks like. It's a very small little area. You might put a bar of soap in there or something like that. It's almost what it looks like. But underneath that, we're going to have everything for our heated seats and, guess what, ventilated seats for your middle row passengers, and then everything for fan speed, temperature, all of your other controls that you need to manage the third zone of climate control back here is going to be here. We'll have our USB ports on each side, and then right down there, we're also going to have the power outlet. You'll also find the center console area. That's right here. A little bit of storage space on each side. Looks like it's perfect for a cell phone, cup holders, and more storage behind.